They said she disappeared on assignment, a journalist lost in the noise of her own investigation. But in Dubai, where stories are currency and truth is expensive, no one disappears without permission. Her name was Sara Khalil, 30 years old, a reporter for one of the region's most respected media outlets. She was known for her persistence, polite, measured, but fearless when she smelled a lie. Her colleagues joked that she didn't chase stories chased her. She was beautiful, yes, but in the quiet way that doesn't beg for attention. She wore simplicity like armor and truth like perfume. He was Sheikh Rashid Al-Nasri, heir to one of Dubai's most powerful families, a man with enough influence to erase his own name from a headline. He was older than Sara by 15 years, with the kind of charisma that made even his silence sound important. To the public, he was a reformer, charming, progressive, visionary. But those close to power know reform is just another word for control. Their worlds collided one evening at a charity gala hosted in the Sheikh's honor. Sara wasn't invited as a guest. She was covering the event, camera in hand, pen ready. While others praised his philanthropy, she watched him. He noticed. Their first conversation lasted less than a minute, a comment about her questions being too sharp for small talk. She smiled, not flattered but curious. He said, "Curiosity can be dangerous," she said. "So can silence." That was how it began, not in romance, but in recognition. Two people who understood the cost of saying too much and the temptation of saying nothing. A week later, an anonymous message arrived in her inbox. No name, no greeting, just a file attachment labeled, "For your eyes only." Inside were scanned documents, contracts, offshore transfers, property deeds linked to the Sheikh's charitable foundation. It was enough to hint at corruption, but not enough to prove it. She began digging. The first calls went unanswered. The second round got her warnings. And then, one night, a black car followed her home. When she looked in the mirror, she saw the reflection of a man she didn't recognize. The next morning, her phone rang. A calm voice on the other end said, "If you want the truth, meet me at the Palm tonight, midnight." It was him. She went. Every part of her training told her not to. But journalists go where silence lives, and she was tired of hearing it echo. He was waiting by the water. No guards, no photographers, just a man in a linen shirt and a gaze that could break composure. "I know why you're looking," he said, "but you're not ready for what you'll find." She asked, "Then why send the files?" He didn't answer. Instead, he told her things that were never supposed to be said out loud. About deals disguised as donations, names buried beneath shell companies, and people who vanished after asking the wrong questions. Then he looked at her and said, "I should be one of them." It was the first time she saw him not as a headline, but as a human being, frightened, trapped, lonely in the gilded world he'd helped build. She promised to tell his story truthfully. He promised to trust her. Neither kept their promise. Their meetings became frequent. At first, for interviews, then for solace. He told her about the price of power. She told him about the loneliness of chasing truth. Somewhere between questions and confessions, the line blurred. She stopped writing. He stopped hiding. What began as an investigation became an affair. To him, she was a secret that made him feel real. To her, he was proof that even power can be vulnerable. But in a kingdom of mirrors, someone is always watching. When the first photograph surfaced, grainy, distant, unmistakable, it wasn't the Sheikh who panicked. It was Sara. Her editor called her into the office. "You're playing with fire," he said. "He's untouchable." She said, "So was the last man who lied." The story was ready to go live, a piece exposing corruption within the Sheikh's foundation, supported by leaked documents and confidential sources. But the night before publication, Sara vanished. Her phone last pinged from the desert road between Dubai and Al Ain. Her car was found 2 days later, doors open, keys still inside. No signs of struggle, no signs of her. The police called it an unconfirmed disappearance. The paper released a brief statement expressing concern, and the Sheikh? He was photographed smiling at a diplomatic summit that same evening. Weeks turned into months. The investigation stalled, witnesses recanted, evidence was misplaced. Even her friends stopped asking. But whispers grew louder than headlines. The driver who found her car said he saw tire marks near the dunes. as if another vehicle had stopped beside hers. A hotel clerk said a woman matching her description had checked in under a false name days before, then left abruptly. And one of her sources received a parcel, a USB drive containing a video clip of her last interview with the Sheikh. It was only 20 seconds long. He was saying, "If you publish that story, you'll destroy us both." She replied, "Then we'll burn together." The clip ended there. No one knew who leaked it. But a week later, the Sheikh announced his resignation from all official duties, citing personal matters. The palace praised his years of service. No one mentioned her name. Until one night, 2 years later, when a new tenant moved into a flat overlooking the creek. The building manager said strange things happened in that apartment. Lights flickering, doors opening by themselves. And sometimes, when the television was off, the reflection in the screen showed a woman sitting at a desk, typing. Always the same, focused, calm, and gone when you blink. The legend says her last article still exists, the unpublished, encrypted, waiting. Some say she sent it to herself under a fake name. Others say the Sheikh destroyed it before vanishing into private exile. But truth has a way of surviving silence. Last year, during renovations at the newspaper's old office, a worker found a hidden USB drive wedged behind a desk. The file name? The Last Interview. It was password protected. No one could open it. They turned it over to the authorities. It was never seen again. Today, the Sheikh's name rarely appears in public. His foundation dissolved quietly. His wife lives abroad. His mansion sits empty, curtains drawn, guards posted, though no one enters. But those who drive past it at night say they sometimes see a single light burning in the study, and a woman's silhouette reflected in the window, facing a man who isn't there. And when the wind moves across the dunes, carrying the hum of the city far behind, it's said you can hear her voice, soft and resolute, repeating the last words she ever wrote. Truth sleeps, but it never dies. And maybe that's why her story still lingers, in whispers between journalists who won't let it go, in the eyes of those who fear they'll be next, in the haunted luxury of a city that trades truth for silence. So, if you ever read a story online that vanishes hours later, remember her, because sometimes the reporter becomes the story, and sometimes the silence that follows is the loudest headline of all. This has been another episode of Dark Whispers, True Crime Tales. If this story held your breath for even a second, like this video. Share it with someone who still believes truth can survive power. And tell us where you're listening from tonight, because some stories never fade. They wait until someone dares to listen again.